I would like to begin with sharing a very short incident of what happened with me last year when I was working. So, one fine day, I was just walking to the pantry area in my office. Now, I'm usually a chirpy, happy go lucky kind of a person. So, when I say that I was walking, I mean I was dancing to the pantry area. So, as soon as I reached the door, there was a guy who was already inside. And he just turned around. And I stood there, startled, as if my nonchalant behavior was some kind of a crime. And before I even realized it, I just said, "I'm sorry." That's so natural, right? That's what most of us would have done. Because we just think it is civil to apologize in such situations. But the very next moment, that person asked me, "What are you apologizing for?" Now, I'm pretty much never speechless in my life, but this was one of those moments where I was. So I just smiled at him, left my bunk, went back to my desk, and thought about this question for the whole time till the time I fell asleep. That was the time when I realized that I have been over apologizing. And well, it's not just me. According to a BBC report, an average Britisher says sorries at least 8 times a day. And in some cases, it is as often as 20 times a day. Now, mind it that these are the Brits who once exploited over 90% of the countries on this planet and never apologized for it. So, maybe if we take the same number in the Singaporean context, the number would probably go up to 24 times a day. You know, with our general tendency to say some words thrice. Okay, okay, okay. Can. Sorry, sorry, sorry. um, from a very young, but it's really not our fault. Because from a very young age, we are taught that we should apologize when we mess up. And I agree with it. We should apologize when we hurt someone or harm someone physically, emotionally, mentally. But that is it. Those are all the times when we should be apologizing. Our schools and our societies have taught us that apologies really do not reduce us to smaller people. Apologizing first, apologizing quickly, apologizing before we even realize that we are apologizing for something that is no fault of ours. And for many people, apologizing is just involuntary for every little thing and has very little to do with any actual set of remorse. In fact, during a Zoom class, I was very amused to see how we often start our sentences like, "Sorry, professor, can you hear me? Sorry, professor, I have a doubt. Sorry, but I have a question regarding this presentation." Why are we apologizing to our professor and our fellow classmates while cross questioning them? Isn't that what is expected of us? Then, if it is expected of us, is it even necessary to apologize to them? So, I would not like to name someone in particular, but there is this one incident that I would like to share. It was regarding one of our group projects in the master's program itself. I was working with this amazingly organized and very smart woman. We had most of our projects sorted. We were just refining the end bits of it. And this woman, who I would like to reiterate, very sweet, very kind, and pretty sensible too. She came up with certain questions that probably substantially improvised our project. But she phrased her questions like, "Sorry, but I have a question. I'm sorry, but I'm confused. I'm really sorry, but I do not understand this. Can you please explain it to me?" Now, these were really good questions that she asked, and which we all as a group overlooked because we probably read the project so many number of times that we just became saturated with it. The truth of the matter was that she was the only one aware enough to point out the mistakes that could have pulled down our grades. Yet she apologized it so many times on the WhatsApp group, on the Zoom call. She personally called me and apologized for being confused about it. So much that we all as a group became annoyed with her and we asked her to stop downplaying her doubts and stop apologizing. Now, I met her a few days back and I still know her that she takes pain for other people and apologizes for not being able to help them, which is probably not even her job. But what's worse is that it leaves her feeling very sad about herself She starts feeling sorry for herself for no real reason. So today, I'm going to be giving you three very compelling reasons of why you should not apologize. Number one, it shows lack of self-confidence. Yes, contrary to the very popular belief that apologies do not harm you, research shows that saying sorry actually proves out to be a confidence killer in the professional setting. I can understand that that keeping everyone happy in the office can be very tempting. But what we do not realize is that we end up apologizing for every little thing that is probably beyond our control. For example, if there are delays caused due to a broken printer, or if there is a interrupted internet connection, or maybe you're running late because you're stuck in rain. Now, these are very natural things that are beyond your control, and it's absurd to apologize for them. What we do not realize, however, is that every time we apologize for something that is not our fault, I'm sorry, what we realize is that every time we apologize for something that is not our fault, we are just putting ourselves out there as easy targets who are going to take the bullet for everything that goes wrong. More so, we are just portraying ourselves as unassertive and someone who is incapable of taking responsibility. Because we just come across as someone who's very comfortable with an I am sorry attitude. When you over apologize, people start losing confidence in you. Reason number two, it minimizes your ideas, opinions, and self worth. How many times have we heard someone respond to their praise or appreciation as, oh, I just got lucky, or oh, I couldn't have done it without you, or you must have definitely heard that, I'm sorry, but I do have an idea. When you use this phrase, I'm sorry, when you use this apologetic tone, you are questioning, challenging, and pulling down your own ideas as well as yourself. When you do it often enough, continuously, constantly, you go on reducing yourself, reducing your ideas, and eventually you start believing that your ideas are not worth it, that you are not worth it. Reason number three, it discounts you, your achievements, and ultimately nobody takes you seriously. Sorry, I'm not positive, so don't worry about that. So, in many cultures, women have been conditioned to be humble. In fact, there's a study that shows that women apologize more often than men do. It's not because men are unwilling to say sorry, and I'm pretty sure that men are not willing to believe it. I mean, considering that they're boyfriends, and boyfriends usually apologize what they feel. But anyway, that's not the case. Women actually do apologize more often than men because there is a huge gap in what is believed to be offensive behavior by men and women. These are the differences. Now, the whole concept of being humble is quite questionable because if you Google the definition of this word, it says showing a low estimate of one's importance or oneself. And I do not understand why would anyone want to understate themselves. I mean, there are surely other ways to be polite rather than belittling myself. So unless you can do it like this guy, and where you can discount your achievements and still be applauded for it, just do not do it. Now that we have learned that over apologizing or apologizing habitually can be really detrimental to our growth, you guys must all be thinking that, okay, that's understood, but how do we do it? Because the schools never taught us. So I'm going to be giving you three very simple tips on how to do away with this bad habit of over apologizing. Number one, show gratitude. Your words matter. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. Because when you are choosing your set of words, what you speak really makes your persona, really builds your identity, both internally for yourself as well as externally. In fact, research shows that Choosing a thank you approach or being more grateful to people shows appreciation and in turn boosts your self esteem. So show thank you. Next time when someone says when you're about to say sorry for being late, rather replace it with thank you for waiting for me. When you're lamenting your mistakes, stop that and rather thank your colleague for helping you fix it. And when you're saying sorry for voicing your opinion, just stop doing that and rather appreciate the audience's patience for hearing you out. Because gratefulness, because saying thank you signals gratitude, positivity, and recognition, which are good things. Number two, take responsibility. What exactly is an apology? Apology is basically taking responsibility for your mistakes and committing to not doing it again. Because if you're doing it again, your apology is just useless in the first place. But what is worse is that over apologizing makes you look like an excuse maker, like someone who cannot own up. On the other hand, when you own up, take responsibility, and make a plan to fix the mistakes, that is the right way to go. So, next time, try not to apologize with a sob story or with a sentence "I am sorry." And it would be even better if you can give a timeline or an action plan as to how you're gonna fix things. And and way number three, which is very crucial and very important, is to apologize. Yes, apologize, but only when you mean it. I want to share a very small incident here. We are three siblings, and as any other sibling pair or as any other siblings, we used to get into a lot of fights. But when we used to fight, and when our fight used to get blown up into huge proportions, our parents used to intervene in between and demand immediate apologies. Now we had to apologize because our parents have asked us to, but I remember being even madder after the apology. We just stopped talking to each other for days on end. We did not eat together. We did not do anything together. But what went wrong? Because apologies are supposed to fix things, right? It's supposed to mend things, put things back in perspective. It did not happen. I'll tell you why. Because none of us meant our apology. In fact, Laura Markham, a child psychologist and author of Peaceful Parenting and Happy Siblings, says that forced apologies do more harm than good. She also points out in her book that if you ask children what do they think about the practice of apologizing without meaning it, the children outrightly they're the first one to tell that it's lying if you apologize without meaning it. In yet another interview, she points out that decades of research on romantic relationships shows that if one person feels forced to apologize before he or she is ready, it does not really do any good for the relationship. Such forced apologies do not only give out the wrong lessons, but they also do not do any kind of a repair. So apologize only when you mean it. Now that we know how, now that we know why and how not to apologize, I want to tell you what are the benefits of doing it. Once you learn why and how not to over apologize, you learn how to handle your successes and failures. You learn how to own up, take responsibility, and be more comfortable with your achievements as well as your bad characteristics. When you understand what is in your control and beyond your control, and stop apologizing for things that are totally beyond your control, you resolve the anxiety that you build up every moment with every needless apology. In turn, you also earn more respect, you become more self confident, and your self esteem boosts. And also, when you choose gratitude over modesty, you change your aura, you change your vibes to more positive one. Because sorry comes out of a negative emotion that is guilt, whereas thank you comes out of a positive emotion that is gratitude. And trust me, if your vibes are positive, you can change your life. And while you're at it, while you're choosing gratitude over apologizing, start with thanking yourself. Start with yourself. And on this note, I would like to first of all thank myself for bringing this awesome topic to you guys and sharing this life learning. And I would also like to apologize you all. Sorry, not sorry. I would also like to thank you all for being a great audience. Thank you. And the last part was totally unplanned for.